specific groups for the last preseason game as far as depth goes? Are there groups that you want to see, position groups that you want to see step up specifically? Can you name some of those?
I can't. I mean, to me, they all need to show up. I think a lot of guys need to show up for us. There's a lot of guys that we'll be looking for that we consider depth players, spot starters, guys fighting for jobs, practice squad spots. So I think you're looking for it all. We need everybody to step up.
Where are you in your comfort level with the depth at O-line and receiver?
Yeah, listen, I'm good. Because here's the thing, it's at the end of the day, no matter what happens, everybody's got holes. I mean, even when we had a pretty damn good roster at New Orleans for a number of years, and we still had holes. And so it's never going to be perfect, but we're so much farther along than we were 2 years ago. And so look, we'll take it as it comes. Some of the things the other day, you look at something and in the moment you're like, God, collectively, but you realize it's one person here. And it makes it all look awful. And then the next play, it's somebody else. So, it's bad, but it wasn't as bad as it felt the other night when I watched the tape. So that's the positive side of it. But
Just the last question. As you said, you're farther along than you were 2 years ago. In that progression, how much more importance or emphasis is there on having really good quality backs? Because a lot of your starting positions are settled for the great majority. But like when you're tracking toward your playoff team and all this stuff, how much more important is the depth now?
It's huge. It's huge. And depth is what gets you the rough spots. When you get those injuries, we know it's a long season, and so to have quality depth. In certain areas, really, you'd love it in all of them, but to have it in certain areas gives you flexibility. It gives you guys that you feel like you're not really going to lose anything if something happens to. So, and there again, I mean, I think the obvious here is, man, D end, OLB-ish, we got some good depth. Inside linebacker, we got some good depth. I mean, those two spots, the safety / nickel, man, we got some depth and versatility. And because of that, that's where you draw from if something goes down in other areas. We can maneuver and push some guys in certain positions or spots that help us. And so then that makes your depth look better.
What is I know you said good and good today, but maybe for Friday, like how much you need to see starters, if at all, versus
For the game?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it'll be a lot like this. I'm still trying to think about that one a little bit. And I want to see how today and tomorrow goes. But I think it's going to look very much like the first two games.
You said that before, that the joint practices kind of substitute for the preseason game for the starters, and you can control it a little bit more. But is there anything lost by not, playing under the lights? I mean, is there anything lost for the starters if they don't get any reps there?
Well, I think that's what we're trying to. Whatever we feel like you could potentially lose, which is the ultimate intensity that you get from full tackle, go to the ground, whistle blows, the blocks through the whistle, all of that, and that's what we're trying to duplicate here. We'll do some of it today. So, and then certainly a load, right? We're trying to put a certain amount of reps on these guys that they wouldn't have gotten in the game anyway. I mean, nobody's going to play your starters for a full game in preseason, but you are trying to build them to that point. So today will be a little bit about that. We're going to try to put a load on our guys, and it's going to be intense. It'll be pretty physical. So I think, potentially that's what you could lose is some of that. But I feel like we can mimic that in practice, and we can do it in a controlled environment.
Good on good work today is Kansas City prep for your starting.
None of it today.
None
of that's today.
When you shift to that mindset?
I would say we may do a little bit tomorrow is where the beginning of that'll be, but we're still going to focus on good and rounding out the roster. We've got some work done on those guys, and we're still thinking about just like they do on us. I mean, they've been looking. It's been a long off season, so. But I still think our focus is on us right now.
People have sort of talked about this or wondered about this maybe, but the emergency, third quarterback rule that you guys proposed, how does that factor into any roster decisions right now that you may make, or is it something just, playoff wise?
Yeah, I don't think that's a factor into what we're going to do with the roster. I think for us, it's, is it worth keeping 3 quarterbacks? Number one. Number two, where are we at with the rest of the roster? You want to do that, but yet who are we losing to do that, or vice versa? Is quarterback 3 better than, corner 4? And then some of it, can we get these guys on practice squad? How does that affect, how you build the roster out? But no, I don't feel like that has a bearing. Like, just because we presented the rule, like we have to keep 3 quarterbacks, that's not a must.
That you're trying to put together with all this roster stuff, I guess, right?
I'm sorry.
I said it's a big puzzle that you're putting together.
It's a huge puzzle, and Brad and I, we sat down last night and just tentatively started discussing it in depth. We've obviously we talk all the time, but really we kind of try to stay out of each other's way and gather our own opinions before we give it a lot of good time. We listen to the coaches, we listen to the personnel department. He does, I do. We try not to sway each other. And then, so yesterday was our first time to really, hey, how do you feel? How do you feel? And I'd say we're pretty aligned. I mean, we really are. And the last pieces are the ones that there's moving parts to it all, because there's still a lot of spots that are in flux right now, and guys are fighting for those spots. But it's good. It's a competitive roster, and I like the guys we've got.
Those powwows do you have, you and Brad, before you?
Oh, we'll probably have 2-3 more before the final, something like that.
Sorry. If you and Brad tie, who makes the decision that the guy stays?
We'll flip a coin. We don't. That doesn't come up. We've never had, who's going, man, we figure it out. We always do. And we either both of us are happy or both of us are not happy. So.
One guy, maybe, I don't know if you talked about him yesterday, but Chase Lucas, special teams in particular, I guess I'm wondering the development that you've seen from him there, and what sort of factor he might be able to be if he makes this roster.
Look, he's another guy that's, he's continuing to compete every day. He's done some nice things. I feel like he's gotten better. But he's fighting for a spot, and what I love about Lukey is I told him this, he's the same guy every day. I mean, the way he comes into work, he's not up and down. He's got the same attitude. He puts in the same amount of work. Nothing changes. He's consistent. So he's giving it everything he's got right now. That's all you can ask.
All that being said, is the intensity going to be turned up for those guys, and do you expect to see it turned up Friday against Carolina, because so much is on the line?
I think I do, but I also think they've been doing that, right? The first 2 games, man, these guys they're out there, and when you're a competitor, when you got something to fight for, you're gonna give everything you've got, and I feel like those guys are doing it. Like I say, the effort's never been the problem; it's about the details of it. But I would anticipate these guys to go out there and put it, lay it on the line and do what they can.
With just 1 week until cuts stand, is there an ability for a guy to kind of really use this week to earn a spot, or is it more so the body of work?
I think, look, body of work goes a long way, but I'll say this, man, you string a couple of 2 or 3, really good showings back to back, man. A couple of practices here. Like, today's a big day. Like, we're going to be able to evaluate the heck out of today's practice, and then tomorrow, and then, man, the game that can certainly catch our eye, especially if we feel like it's been just trending in the right way. So we're not, this isn't shut off for a number of guys. We have an idea we feel pretty good about. This is where we're thinking, but that doesn't mean our minds are made up either. So yes, absolutely, there's some guys that still have an opportunity here that could catch our eye.
You got an update on
I don't know, Sam Ryan, I know you talked about, you said you expect him to be ready before Carolina game, but how's he doing?
Yeah, he's doing good. He's doing good. I mean, we weren't going to play him in Carolina, so, but he's doing great.
Do you have a rough estimate on how many spots are up for grabs still?
I don't want to say that just yet. I don't. I don't want to put that out there, but there's enough, you know.
Yeah, a couple weeks ago, David Montgomery alluded to some difficulties just integrating himself into the offense. You know, there's only one preseason game left, so is that something that you can work out in the kinks of throughout these practices ahead of KC?
Yeah, I do. I think so. You know, is it going to be perfect? No. But I think that there again, it goes back to what, you know, I brought up earlier. You're trying to duplicate the games as much as possible in your own setting, and give him what he needs. Like this, I think this will be a really good day for David. But he's I mean, every day he gets more and more comfortable with what we're doing. And look, it's a long year too, and you can try to do everything you can possibly do to be like you're going to be ready for week one, and you are, and we are, but god dang, man, it's a long season. And so as long as you just get better every week and all those guys get in the flow every week, that's the most important thing, you know. All right.